Greetings. My name is Brother Scott, and I believe that with faith, courage, and discipline, we will prevail. Okay, so for today's topic, we're going to continue with our Building Your Dynasty playlist, okay? So we've already talked about creating a plan to build a dynasty. We've already talked about understanding female attraction. We've already talked about determining if you are ready for a relationship. And then the next thing today, what we're going to talk about is knowing what to look for in a woman. All right, so remember, last video we talked about determining if you are ready for a relationship. And there were various questions that you need to ask yourself before you dive in, or before you can consider yourself, oh, I'm ready. I'm ready for a relationship. I'm ready. Like SpongeBob, you understand. All right, so now we know how to evaluate, how to assess whether or not we're ready for a relationship. Now we can move on and start learning how to know what to look for in a woman, okay? So the first thing you need to look for is you gotta look for compatibility. All right, so that's pretty obvious, but what do I mean by compatibility? Okay, you need to ensure that your potential partner is compatible with your calling, okay? Her lifestyle should not conflict with your calling. All right, I'm gonna read the whole paragraph and then we'll go into details, okay? Her calling, because she can have a calling as well, her calling needs to be compatible with your calling, okay? Make sure you and your potential partner have callings that can coexist amongst each other, okay? Neither of your callings should contradict each other, okay? You can even have joint callings if both of your callings are similar. We understand. So let's break that down real quick. So I told you that your partner, your potential partner should be compatible with your calling, okay? And her lifestyle, whatever she's into, whatever her lifestyle is, it should not be, it should not detract or take away from what you have going on. And I talk about she could have a calling as well. You got to make sure that whatever you're doing for your calling and whatever she's doing don't butt heads. They can coexist. And a good example we can use is, let's say, for example, your family owns a farm and you're a butcher on that farm. And that's what you love to do. You guys love the barbecue. You're a barbecue expert. You're a butcher. You cut meat. That's what you do for a living. That's what you've been doing since you were yay high up until an adult. And that's your passion, okay? Well, let's say your potential partner, let's say she is an animal rights activist and she is a strict vegan. And she don't eat nothing but vegetables, or she eats basically a strict vegan diet, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with her being a vegan, just like there's nothing wrong with you being a butcher. That's what you do, right? That's your livelihood, that's your calling as well, and that's what you love to do. But the issue is, you know, what are the chances that what she does and what you do, what are the chances that can coexist? The chances are very small, right? Right? Because if you're sitting there, if you're cutting meat every day, you're cutting, you work a farm and you're cutting them animals and things like that, of course, you don't see anything wrong with that, but she probably is going to have an issue with your calling. And so even if you guys like each other, you guys like each other's personalities, you guys have a good vibe, y'all can watch sports together, play video games, that could be an indication that you guys aren't compatible. right? It's an indication. It's an indicator. You understand? And so that's something to look out for. And then additionally, I said also on the flip side of that, you can have callings that are, you can have a joint calling, right? If both of your callings are similar. Let's say, for example, let's say your calling, hey, you cut hair. You cut hair, that's what you love to do. It's your calling, and that's what you're building your that's the foundation of your dynasty. And you have you have multiple barbershops, and that's what you love to do. Let's say she does braids. She braids hair. That's what she does, right? That's what she's passionate about. That's her calling, and she likes to braid hair. Well, guess what? That you got at some point, if everything works out and you decide this person is the one, you guys could have a joint calling. You understand? Where you have, an establishment where you can come get your hair cut, get a line up, get a tape up or whatever. And then, if you have longer hair, you want to try out some braids, hey, you can get some plaits, you can get some Fulani braids, and it's a one-stop destination. You understand? So compatibility, that's something you need to look for when you have spotted a potential partner, okay? Or when you're assessing a potential partner, okay? And then the next thing about compatibility is, so we talked about the calling. You have to ensure that she is compatible with your plans for your future dynasty, what you're trying to build, okay? So let's say, for example, okay, so this is a good example. Let's say you live in Hawaii, and you're from Hawaii, and your dynasty, the foundation of your dynasty is you have a business that sells like jet skis and surfboards and aquatic type of entertainment equipment. You understand? And let's say she is from Texas. She has a business in Texas, and she is an oil tycoon, right? That's where all of her oil wells are. That's where they do a lot of drilling, and that's where her headquarters is, right? There's a possibility that you guys may not be compatible because she is locked in geographically to that particular region of the states, and in turn you are also locked in. If you're selling jet skis and surfboards and things of that nature, it's going to be a lot harder to build that business or expand the business like that in Texas. You can try. I mean, anything's possible. But you're going to have a much easier time in Hawaii doing that. So again, if you're building your dynasty on something like that, you understand, and she's not able to, her lifestyle doesn't fit that, then there's a chance that you guys aren't compatible. She's not compatible with the dynasty that you're trying to build. We understand. So yeah, compatibility is one of the biggest things when as far as what to look for in a woman. You understand? Okay? Second thing you need to look at is reputation. Okay? Does she have a good reputation? Your partner represents you and you represent her. So when you're going on dates and when you're trying to figure out, if this person is right for me, reputation needs to be something that you think about. You ask about, because at the end of the day, when you guys become one, all right, whatever type of reputation she may have had in the past, things can come back up. All right, I say here, don't inherit her problems and don't inherit her enemies. Okay, so let's say, for example, she was in the streets, right? And let's say she did somebody dirty, or she took, she stole this, or she did, she set somebody up, right? And that's in her past. But, she's grown from that. She's not doing she's not participating in that type of behavior anymore. And, she's turned over a new leaf in her life, and she's an honest, productive citizen of America. Now, even though she's turned over a new leaf in her life, she may still have that reputation of what she has done in the past. And if you guys become one, you guys start dating or whatever the case may be, in this particular scenario, there might be somebody that's trying to get some get back, some revenge, some retaliation. Okay? And if you're associated with her because you're her boyfriend or you guys are dating, that can have you can be part of some collateral damage. And I mean that both physically and metaphorically, or figuratively speaking, you understand. So you need to be aware. And it goes both ways too. You need to make sure you got a good reputation too, because if you was getting caught up in some mess way back in the day and it hasn't been resolved, then the same thing can happen where, she starts dating you and she get caught up in the mix of something that she ain't got no business being a part of because of your reputation, okay? I'm not saying that she has to be a perfect angel that has never done any wrong, that has never done anybody dirty. I'm not saying they got to be a perfect person, but you need to look into that reputation and see whether or not the juice is worth the squeeze. Okay? Yeah. And so the last thing when it comes to knowing what to look for in a woman, and this is pretty obvious, well, you need to make sure that you are physically attracted to this woman, okay? Now this goes without saying, but I'm gonna talk about it, I'm gonna break it down because there's a few things you need to understand when it comes to physical attraction, okay? All right, so I'm gonna tread lightly because this is a very sensitive topic, right? Especially when it comes to women and how they view themselves as far as beauty, all right? So just bear with me. All right. Understand the role physical attraction plays when choosing a partner. Men subconsciously want a woman with good health and fertility. All right, let me stop right there, okay? So remember in my previous video, so I explained when I talked about what women are physically attracted to in us. Before I talked about that, I explained what we are attracted to in a woman. And I talked about how we subconsciously are attracted to indicators of health and fertility for our future offspring. And I list all the different things that we subconsciously look and determine, or we use to help us determine whether this woman has or is ideal as far as having good health and fertility. Now, all right, now this is where I gotta tread lightly, okay? Understand how cosmetics and cosmetic surgery can give false indicators of health and fertility, okay? Some men like to show contempt for women who use cosmetics and cosmetic surgery to enhance their attractiveness. And I believe that this is unwarranted. We have to remember, okay, women compete with other women for attention, affection, and adoration from attractive men. Some men compete in the same manner. So let's stop right there, all right? So cosmetic surgery and makeup and cosmetics in general. So we're all aware that these things can artificially enhance a woman's beauty, okay? And this is something you need to think about when you're going on these dates and stuff, because the woman that you see on the date may not be the same woman you see, when all that stuff comes off, whether it's the wig or the makeup or the eyelashes and things of that nature. And you shouldn't be startled or surprised when they look, if someone is applying that stuff, right, the makeup and the hair and things, and they take it off and they look like a completely different person, okay? Now, as I stated, a lot of guys will will take this opportunity when women are, getting the surgeries or getting the hair, getting the nails and the eyelashes and stuff. A lot of guys will take this opportunity to try to bash women and say, oh, they're being deceptive. They're not being honest. They're not being truthful, right? And before you do that, what I would caution you is you need to understand that women have to compete for the attention of attractive men they want, right? Men compete as well, so it's not as overt, right, as it would be when men are competing for the love and affection of a woman. Like, let's take the stereotypical example of, let's say you're watching a rom-com or some type of romance movie where you have a guy, let's say you have a guy who's attracted to a girl, and he goes to the party where the girl is at. He goes to a party, and some other dude is chatting up the girl that he likes. He's risen this girl up, right? And so the protagonist, the guy, he walks in the party, and he goes up to the dude that's talking to the girl he likes and says, well, hey, dude, who are you? I've never seen you before. Maybe you should go over there and go hang out over there. She's with me, right? And, it's the way women compete, right, for men is not as overt. And before I continue, yes, there are times where you'll see, a woman get into a cat fight with another woman because of some dude that they're both thought that they were in a relationship with. That does happen, okay? But more often than not, the competition comes from who looks the best, who's the most attractive, who's the most gravitating physically, okay? And so women have realized, okay, guess what? When I get the cosmetic surgeries, when I get the makeup, and when I get the hair or whatever, I'm more attractive. I garner more attention. And guess what? Every woman that's not doing that is going to be at a disadvantage. If they're not naturally conventionally attractive, right? Then guess what? They're incentivized to go, put on the makeup and the wigs and the hair and all that stuff, because if they don't do it, then essentially what they do is, when it comes to competition, they accept the position down here when they could potentially rise up to here or to even here. You understand? So that needs to be understood when we're looking at physical attraction and makeup and cosmetics, and the role that it plays as far as women's physical beauty is concerned. Okay? And you need to be aware of this too, because if you're dating a woman and she's putting on all that stuff, which is fine, and then once you guys get in a relationship and she's not putting that stuff on anymore, she's not applying the makeup and the foundation and stuff, well, guess what, man? What I don't want to happen is, you get surprised and you're like, wait a minute, this ain't the person that I was attracted to. Okay? Yeah. And then what I was going to say is, some men compete in the same manner when they display false indicators, right? False indicators of wealth, status, and confidence. Guys do the same thing. So before we get on women about the makeup and the hair and all that stuff, guys do it too. Guys put on fake ass jewelry. Guys put on name brand clothes they can barely afford. Guys use pickup lines to display confidence. They're not really a confident individual. They're just basically reading off of a script. Guys do the same thing and compete in the same way. Some guys do. Okay? So that needs to be understood. All right? And then the last thing I'll say about physical attraction is, don't forget about those intangible qualities, okay? Men pursuing their calling are susceptible to only noticing their potential partner's physical attributes because they are too focused on their life's mission. Okay? Sometimes men pursue their calling. Men who are pursuing their calling forget to evaluate intangible traits such as intelligence, modesty, loyalty, etc., etc., etc. So when it comes to physical attraction and it comes to knowing what to look for in a woman, don't forget, right? Don't get so caught up in physical attraction that you forget about those intangible traits. If you want an intelligent woman, if you want a modest woman, if you want a loyal, okay? All right, so today we talked about knowing what to look for in a woman, and we talked about compatibility, making sure you guys are compatibility, looking at that woman's reputation, and then of course, making sure you're actually physically attracted to the woman, okay? All right. Now, if you haven't already, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and donate. And always remember, with faith, courage, and discipline, we will prevail.